For my teaching and learning, technology and teaching and learning poll, I had 19 responses. I had a good range. My youngest age was 20 years old and my oldest was 53. I had two post high school, six community college, eight at a 4 year university, one graduate school, and two post grad. So I felt like I had a pretty good range. I could have got more responses, but this is what I have to go off of. So for my third question, asking about the earliest memory of the technological use in the classroom, I felt as though, based on my responses, I could have worded it differently. I was hoping to get more responses on devices or tools. However, I got a lot of grade levels or, areas of school where they were first introduced to technology. But I did get some good tools, so I had things ranging from tapes to listen to books to the smartboard. So you can see a big jump in the age gap. And so, for how frequently technology should be used in the classroom, I was really pleased with this result. I had 11, which was my most answered area, saying that technology should be used a couple days out of the week, and 5 everyday use. So that was my second most answered area, and I was pleased to see that never got 0 responses. And for what would I think that would prevent a teacher from using technology in the classroom? Uh, Intimidation seemed to be the most, but there was a lot of answers that were just tied. So there wasn't something that was too much more than the other. They were all generally, there. For benefits, I saw a lot of benefits. My favorite one was it would educate students with a more interactive approach, maybe more appealing, and help students retain information better. So I saw a lot of differentiated learning, is what it seemed like. Better visual examples. Everyone learns, relates to students, easy to understand and follow, keeping up with the times, and this one even differentiated instruction. It was good responses. For drawbacks, there was a lot that seemed to mention distraction and a lack of human interaction. But more so, it seemed as though distraction and reliance was one of the main drawbacks. So, for the familiar form of online learning, Blackboard was my highest answered, 88.2%, and I would assume because most of my respondents were at some college level. But I was pleased to see that all of them had at least one answer. And for a different website or tool, I was also really happy to see that there was not too many NAs. There was different websites and different tools that I was not aware of. And for the social media question, this one was, almost a three-way tie. Um, there was a lot of people who thought no, that we could never use it. However, there was more people that thought maybe we could. There was only 5 people, which is only 28.8%, who thought that there was a great way that students could learn on a social level using social media. But I do see that there is definitely, since maybe was the highest answered, that there is a lot of room to grow in that area. So for the how important or not important, the most was close to 5. 5 was the most, 1 was the least. 1 being keeping it old fashioned, and 5 being technology is super important. So I was a little surprised to see that there was anybody in the keeping it old fashioned answer, just because of the day and age that we're at. But it was an interesting poll to see that. And so for this one was another one that I was really surprised. I had more respondents leaning towards paper and books. So it seems as though, based on a lot of the answers, a lot of the young adults to mature adults see that technology is of good use and it is important and should be integrated. But there's still leaning towards just the older ways. And so my last question was, from what device was this answered from? And all but three had answered it on their phone. So I thought that was, pretty interesting because things like this, 10 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do on the phone. Even 5 years ago, we probably would have had a difficult time doing it on the phone. But a majority of my respondents, they did it from their cell phone. So I thought that was interesting. But overall, it seemed as though my participants were open to the idea of technology and understood the importance. But there's definitely a lot of room for education and improvement for people understanding really how we could use technology in the classroom.